If you live in Orange County, you may be facing new taxes if state leaders abolish Disney's Reedy Creek Improvement District.
We need to take action.
This bill is a knee-jerk reaction and a political stunt.
We have live team coverage breaking down how much more you could have to pay and the impact the move would have on Reedy Creek employees. This afternoon, the Florida Senate voted in favor of doing away with the Reedy Creek Improvement District. The state House is expected to vote on the measure tomorrow. Good evening, I'm Greg Wormuth.
And I'm Martha Sigalski. Right now, the district has about $1 billion, $1 billion in outstanding bonds. Those bonds are being paid by Disney now, but could soon fall into the laps of you, the taxpayer. We have live team coverage right now at 6. Channel 9 Shannon Butler talked to fire union officials about what approval could mean for Reedy Creek firefighters. But we begin tonight with Channel 9's Christopher Heath, who is live in East Orange County. And Chris, residents there don't even have a representative in the state house to argue on their behalf on this issue.
That's absolutely correct, because Representative Renee Placencia, the Republican, resigned at the end of the regular session. So tomorrow, when the House takes up the abolishment of the Reedy Creek Improvement District, the people that live over here in East Orange County, they don't have anyone in the Florida House to argue on their behalf. And that is crucial, because if Reedy Creek goes away, there is about $1 billion in bonds, as you and Greg mentioned, that will fall on Orange County. So the taxpayers out here, not only do they not have a representative in Tallahassee, they may be saddled with paying back that $1 billion in bond debt. Someone is going to pay. Right now, the Reedy Creek Improvement District has about $1 billion in outstanding bonds. Disney pays for those bonds. But if Reedy Creek is eliminated, as the governor intends, well,
the procedures that we have will transfer that indebtedness and assets to the general purpose local governments.
In other words, Disney's debt becomes Orange County's debt. But wait, it gets worse.
Those bonds are issued to creditors on the promise that the district will continue to exist.
Joe Bishop Henchman is the vice president of policy at the National Taxpayers Union. He points out many of the bonds may be due immediately if the district dissolves, a bill Orange County would have to cover right away or renegotiate. But even that is problematic.
The interest rate will probably be higher now. It's higher. Interest rates are higher now generally than they were when these bonds were issued. And that puts the county taxpayers on the hook for paying them, not just Disney.
Complicating matters even more, state law prohibits taxing one area more than another, so Orange County can't add a new tax on Disney to cover the debt.
So in other words, we should know what's in these bonds before we saddle Orange County with them.
Somebody should.
And in case you're wondering what this will all add up to, depending on exactly how much of these bonds end up on Orange County taxpayers, a family of 4 is looking at an extra $2,200 to $2,800 in extra debt that they'll have to absorb as part of Reedy Creek going away. Reporting live in East Orange County, Christopher Heath, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And it's not just Disney's Reedy Creek that would be eliminated by the state. 5 other special districts would also cease to exist because the state is specifically going after districts created before 1968. All of these districts would be eliminated too. One lawmaker called them collateral damage. They include 2 small water and sewer districts, as well as the law library in Marion County. Like Disney, all of their functions and debt would fall on local counties and taxpayers to absorb.
And while lawmakers debate about these special districts, there are hundreds of employees that are anxious, waiting to see what happens to their jobs, their pensions, their futures. 300 people work at the Reedy Creek Fire Department alone. It has 4 fire stations that cover Disney World, along with the cities of Bay Lake and Lake Buena Vista, and they are nervous. Channel 9 Shannon Butler continues our live team coverage with what the decision to disband the district could mean for the first responders and staff at that department alone.
Yeah, they can't decide yet if this is a good thing or a bad thing. That's because there's just no information coming to them. But they said it's clear they will be part of this conversation because their livelihood is at stake.
The fight between Disney and DeSantis continues this week as lawmakers meet in a special session. But in the mix are hundreds of employees who work in the Reedy Creek Improvement District. What happens with them? A big question right now. Of the 5 independent special districts that would be affected by the legislation if it passed, Reedy Creek is the only one that employs members of the Florida Professional Firefighters Association. This letter sent out by the president to the firefighters says that the legislation wasn't to target firefighters, but says, quote, "We will use all means at our disposal to ensure that they do not become collateral damage as well." Channel 9 has reported on the union's issue with what they say is a staffing shortage. In the late 1980s, the fire department had 30 firefighters per shift. That number grew to just 32, despite the park's tremendous growth. Being absorbed by the county could change that, but there are many options on what could happen. Disney could use a private company or civilian paramedics, create a special fire district like the Villages did, or the department could actually be dissolved into Orange County. And the mayor here is watching carefully to see what happens, but says having the district has actually saved you money.
They have their own fire service, and they have been fairly self-contained. That has worked to the benefit of all Orange County residents because that has not been a tax burden to all of our residents.
Now, one bright spot for those Reedy Creek firefighters is that they are part of the Florida retirement system. So if they were absorbed into, say, like here at Orange County, their pensions would still be intact. But things like seniority, that could be in jeopardy. We are live in Orlando. Shanna Butler, Channel 9 Eyewitness.